You're welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to draft and also cut a simple 8 piece skirt. So you're going to start measuring from your skirt waistline down to your hip, which is our hip line. So I'll be using 11 inches, and also your skirt knee length from your skirt waist down to your knee, and you go above your nail by 2 or 3 inches. So I'll be using 20 for this particular skirt. Okay, so that's my hip line 11 inches, and also the skirt knee length down. Okay, which I just mark now. Okay, we are going to be making use of that later in this tutorial. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and measure the skirt knee length, and this paper won't be enough for the actual length. Okay, I think this paper altogether is 40, and I'll be needing about 3 inches or more. So the best thing is to indicate at the end of the paper, at the edge of the paper, that okay, so few inches are needed. So now back to my skirt waist line. So this is my skirt waistline. I'll measure my waist round divided by 4. Okay, which is I just mark now. Then 1 inch for that, and 2 inches for seam allowance. Then I'll come to the hip line and measure the hip circumference divided by 4. Okay, so I'm using 11 inches plus 2 inches seam allowance. As we know, there won't be that allowance on the hip. Then whatever I have on the hip line, I'm taking it down to the skirt knee length. Okay, because we're going to make a straight skirt first before we'll be moving on to the different pieces. So I've connected this. Now I'm going to create the darts. I'll be using 4 inches. It's 8 inches altogether, but since is on the fabric will be on fold, so I'm using 4 inches. Then I mark this 4 inches across this skirt. You can see, and I have to connect it with a straight line, just like so. Okay, so now on the waistline, I'll mark 0.5 inch on both sides on the waistline, then come down by about 4 inches. You can use 4.5, 3 inches, 5 inches, but we're using 4 inches for mine. So that's the dart placement for this particular one. So now, I hope you guys are following. Please just pay attention to the video. So at the knee length, I went in by 1 inch. Then I'll create a smooth curve there. So this is just to give more fittings to the skirt by the time we are done. Okay, so just note this. That means we are going to cut off the other part, but I made some adjustment later in the future, so later in the video rather. Okay, so guys, so go ahead and cut it out, but note this is the front part of the skirt. Okay, so this is the fabric on fold. Note the fabric will be on fold. Okay, and for the front pieces, as we know, we're going to open on the center front. Okay, so I want each part of the center front to be about 10 inches. So I'll make sure that whatsoever allowance are added to this, everything must mount up to 10 inches. So this is a part for the center front. Okay, so instead of placing it at the center of this fabric, rather, sorry, at the edge of this fabric, I have to bring it to the center, as you can see. So I will make sure I have equal allowance at each side of this my pattern paper. So I'll secure it with a pin. Excuse me, please. Then I'm going to add the extra inches that the paper could not cover. So I'm added the 3 inches. Then I'll mark it out just like so. So at this part, which is the few inches above the knee length, so I'm going to connect it to the skirt length, the actual skirt length down there. As you can see, then I also added half inch for joining allowance on both sides. Please remember to add a half inch. Then I also folded in the dart part, because I'll be able to take in the dart. Please just pay more attention to the video for better understanding. So this is part, this is the center front, and this the fabric is on fold again. So I'm going to use the same pattern, the same part I just cut, to cut out the center back. The only difference from the center front and the center back is just zipper allowance. This is skirt, is not a gown. So I only add 1 inch to the back, to the center back. You understand? I only added 1 inch to one part of it, which is my center back. 1 inch for zipper allowance. That's the only difference. Please. Every other thing is the same thing. So 1 inch zipper allowance. You can see the added 1 inch. So now I'm done with center front and center back. I hope you understand, guys. The only difference is just the zipper allowance that we're adding to the back. So again, this fabric is on fold. I'll be cutting out the side panel. So I'll be cutting out the front panel first. Either front or back, is still the same thing. So the overall measurement, I added my center front is 10 altogether. Okay. So but this side panel is wide. So I only added half of the center front, which is 5 inches. Okay. So the way I did my mathematics, I only added 5 inches extension to the side panel, and I'll be connecting that to the um, skirt nail length also. Then you can, if you note that I tape back the pieces I cut out. So that means I'll prefer to cut this out with the fabric later in the video. So just watch closely. Okay, so I'll use the same pieces to cut out the back side panel. It's the same thing. There's no difference. I'm not adding any extra inches. It's the same format. Just label it well. So this is the side panel. So now I'll go back and mark the 1 inch that I marked earlier before cutting the paper out. Mark the 1 inch. Then from your hip line, I'll connect it. But note, I have my fabric underneath now. So it's not just the paper. So as you can see, I'll trim it out. This is just to give me that shape before the flame. So I'll also do the same thing with the back panel. Make sure they are well placed. Okay, I'll go ahead and secure it. Then we'll cut it out also. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and join this fabric. This is the center front and the center panel. That's the side panel. So I make sure I mark all the wrong side of this fabric and lining. Mark all the wrong side. So I'll pick one of the center front and also pick one of the side panel, right side to right side. Okay, right side to right side, and stitch on my half-inch allowance. That's the joining allowance. Okay, so that one is done. Then I'll go for the second pieces again, right side to right side. I only mark the wrong side, so right side to right side, and join also. Note the part I'm joining, please. It's also important. Right side to right side. I've stitched that too. Then I'll do the same thing for the lining. Pick it right side to right side. you understand, and stitch on your half inch up to down, and we'll do that for the second lining too. So you do this for, just make sure you position each piece as well. So this is what we have. Yes, for the, so I have two pieces for right side, giving me four pieces all together for the front pattern. And you can see the center front where I'm going to join together. That's the center front. The only thing is the center front carries its own flay, unlike 6 pieces. So I've joined this together. You can see the center is joined together. Each part has its own flare. Okay, so, and the lining also is joined the same way, just as separately. Okay, so this is the back pieces. I'll be doing the same thing also. You mark the wrong side, okay, so that will be easy to differentiate. Then I'll pick it right side to right side also and stitch. I'll do for each pieces, pick right side to right side, stitch, lining the same thing, the first part of the lining, the second part also, we'll do that to the lining. So just make sure you outline yours very well for clarification, for better, for easy job. So this is the center back. I left my zipper allowance. I joined the other part. You know, you're bringing your zipper there. So this is my back pieces, and I'll place the front pieces also on each other. Then I'll stitch, measure your the actual body measurement, and stitch your same allowance. Stitch leaving the same allowance. You understand, guys? You do the same thing for the lining, okay, and also join it together, and our skirt is ready. It's not difficult, guys. Okay, so go ahead and see the end product. So this is our 8 pieces skirt, guys. This is the front pieces. You can see we have 4 joinings. So I have 4 panels in the front. You can see they are flay. Yeah, it's simple. There's no excess allowance or excess flay there. It's as simple as that. And that's the back also. You can see the zipper. It also has 4, it have 4 panels also. And you can see the flame. It's as simple as that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. Give it a thumbs up. Thank you. Bye.